As you can see right here, the United States hit 170 targets last night. Now, there's something that the news media is missing. And it came to me, being a submarine guy, being a Navy veteran, I look at things with a little different set of optics. Maybe I look through things through a periscope on most of what I see on the news. And I see right through some of this trash. U.S. strikes 170 Iranian targets after ship attacks in the Strait of Hormuz. I want you to think more specifically, not about what we are attacking, but what Iran is not attacking. Iran is hitting defenseless targets. They're going after ships. They retaliate not at the U.S. Navy, at the ships. They're not launching airstrikes at them. They're not doing anything to our aircraft. Now, they've taken down some Reaper drones. Many of them are defenseless. But what they have done is target bases in neighboring countries, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Iraq. That is how Iran operates. They go for low-hanging, weak fruit. They don't retaliate against anyone that can punch back. And this is the first time in 50 years that they've had a president that punches back. 170 target hits overnight. This is only going to ramp up. We're going to see the damage that occurred during the day. Apparently yesterday, July 8th, was Bridge and Train Day. We're going to get into all that. Before we get too far, hit the like and subscribe button. I want you to hear from the president talking about Iran is already on the phone begging for a deal. His words, not mine.
We have many ways we can win, but we've already won militarily. They have very little left, and they want to make a deal so badly. They called a little while ago. They want to make a deal so badly. I just don't know if they're worthy of making a deal. I don't know that they're going to honor the deal. That's the problem.
If they want to make a deal, why do you think they attacked commercial vessels?
Because they're sort of crazy, to be honest with you. They're sort of crazy. They're a little bit out of control, but they want to make a deal. Badly. We have many ways we can win, but we've already won.
So this is the president on Air Force One flying back to the United States. They want to make a deal. How many of you in the chat believe Iran wants to make a deal? I think the only time that they come to the table and want to make a deal is when they have no other option. And then they come, they beg, they call, they get this ceasefire. They want a ceasefire. They want a memorandum of understanding. But then at the same time, they want to pick and choose when they can attack these defenseless container ships. Container ships are not allowed to have defense mechanisms. They are not allowed to have weaponry because they go in and out of so many international ports. They're not allowed. So Iran knows, the IRGC specifically, knows who they can hit and who won't punch back. But now we have a president that's not only punching back, but he's punching down, and he is taking out a lot of targets. We'll get into a little bit of the Air Force One thing, but I want you to hear a little more. He had this press gaggle on Air Force One. I think he scared the hell out of them.
We just hit them very hard, and I say we hit them 20-1. Every time they hit us, we're going to hit them 20. And we did it last night. They did a little something today, but it was really retribution for last night. They hit actually 3 boats, not 2. And when they hit, we hit back much harder. We just hit them.
So his own words, he says 20-1. They hit 3 boats. We hit 170. So maybe the president's math is just a little off there. In this instance, I'm okay. Now, I know the liberal news media is going to run with Trump has lost his mind. He can't do math. 20-1 should be 60 targets. Or, you know, that's what they're going to run with. They're not going to go with the United States just hit 170 targets. Iran is learning a lesson. They can't do that. Okay, they can't give you the truth. Now, I want you to go here. CENTCOM, as the direction of the Commander-in-Chief, Central Command forces have started conducting additional strikes against Iran to further degrade the ability to threaten freedom of navigation in Strait of Hormuz. United States holding Iran accountable for recent unjustified aggression. Now, last night in the live stream, I brought up something, and I sometimes don't think anyone's listening to me. I brought up the point that we haven't seen the C-130s, the gunships yet. I had 3 different people reach out to me via secure messaging. They said, do not share my name, do not share my identity. I said, okay, no problem. Silent service, I'm not sharing anything about you. But all 3 of them said the exact same thing. When you see or hear or notice C-130s, gunships, then that is preparing for boots to ground. And it really gave me this thought process of what is occurring here now, but more importantly, what are we trying to get to? Because I think Trump has a motive. I think Trump has a method. Secretary of War, all these people. CENTCOM. We're loosening up things. If we see C-130s going in, and Joe just said it right here, too low and slow. That's exactly what I was told. They're low, slow, but if we see the C-130s involved, there's going to be boots to ground very soon. And I'm sure some of you support boots on the ground at this point. Some of you don't. That's okay. We're allowed to have different opinions here. My opinion is going to be different than yours. And I guarantee you we're not going to agree on a lot of things other than we want all of the men and women in uniform to come home safely. We want to finish the mission, and we want Iran never to get a nuclear weapon, and also just quit killing their people and attacking innocent ships.
What was the security concern that caused us to change planes?
We sent this one in so that the Air Force Base here was in the same exact line. So you saw, did you see the picture?
We did.
Hundreds of pictures, hundreds of people. Let me see that. Oh, yeah. You can't see it too well, but there are hundreds of people out there. So they wanted to see, so they came a little bit early and we switched planes.
So you're saying there wasn't a security concern?
No. Why
was
would
there
they?
any other issue? No issue?
No, except we sent it a little early. Same line, going back. We sent it a little bit early so that we could let them see it. The whole base came out and saw the plane, and then we landed.
Do you know what?
So this was Trump talking to the press gaggle. They're very worried because they're on the plane that's being targeted. I don't know about you, but being on the airplane with the most wanted man in Iran, probably I can see where the threat is.
They had us close our window blinds. That was unusual.
Well, yeah, because you're probably on a dangerous flight because of the sleazebags that we have to deal with.
So you think that Iran was possibly thinking of targeting?
Well, I mean, if they asked you to close your windows, probably they feel that way. They didn't ask me to close mine, but if they did, I would have done it. No, these are sick people, so I could see something like that. I didn't know they did that, but I could see something like that.
Were you aware of any credible threat by Iran against Air Force
Well, I have
One?
a threat all the time. I'm number 1 on their list before you. But if I go, you go, right?
But was there a specific
So
threat today?
perhaps someday you want to change professions.
What was the concern?
I think it's so great that the president of the United States put into perspective for these clowns that, or for the news media, and we'll call them clowns because it is like a circus for these people. I think it's great that he put it into perspective for them that they're on a plane with the most wanted man in Iran. And for so many of these press people, this is a game. They think the news is a game. They think what they're doing is a game, and it's not. And the president, I'm glad that he did that. Maybe it'll put some level of realism for them, because for too many of the news media, they are out of touch. They are out of touch with what's going on. Now, the 170 targets, we're going to talk a little bit about this. And I've pulled this up on my X feed, and I want to show you some of the replies from some of the Iranian let's call ringleaders. America still hasn't learned that bullying and breaking promises are no longer cost-free. I'm going to say this, whoever this official is. Iran has not kept one iota of a promise, not one iota of a deal. So this guy is the Speaker of the Islamic Republic of Iran's parliament. Okay, so we're starting to understand. We're starting to understand now why the President Trump came out last night and posted this on True Social, that this is in retribution. He's the retribution president, is what it seems like. We're going to keep moving here a little bit more. We've got more footage coming in from Central Command, released some of these attacks. They can't stop this. And like I said before, Iran is only lashing out at stationary, unguarded, unresponsive targets, weak container ships, military bases that are not really for attacking, right? They're not for aggression. They're stationary. Look at this attack here. You're going to see this. These are just being obliterated. Iran can't stop any of this. It's just, and I don't understand, and maybe someone in the chat can help me figure this out. Why has Iran not realized that they are helpless? When you hit 170 targets overnight, I mean, they're just dialing these in. This is the movie Cool Hand Luke, where he just keeps getting up and he keeps getting knocked down, and everybody's like, Luke, just stay down, man. Paul Newman, one of Paul Newman's greatest films, in my opinion. Just stay down, man. There's nothing you can do. The fight is over. And I believe for Iran, the fight is over. The White House is now coming out, and they're just trolling them, okay? They're just trolling the hell out of Iran. Central Command just continues to put out more information, exhibiting to the world of what we are capable of. We've got the world's finest Navy rolling through there, just shelling the place. They are helpless. And we're going to get into a few other things and talk about that. I want to talk about Mamdani. I want to talk about Graham Plattner. It looks like the Democrat Party is about as helpless as Iran's Navy. The United Maine, Graham Plattner stepped down. We knew it was happening. We knew it was going to happen. I don't know who's pulling the strings there. Maybe the same people that are pulling the strings with the IRGC. But I want to show you a couple of a little more relevant information about what happened last night, stuff that came out just this morning. And even CNN is now saying that Iran is taking a gun to a knife fight. Listen to this. We'll get into some calls here in a little bit. But when CNN is saying it's over for Iran, it might be over.
We are bringing a knife to a knife fight, but we've got a gun. And I think that's what President Trump has to make a decision upon. And I'm all for striking Iran. I think they have badly overplayed their hand here. And I think the Admiral Brad Cooper, the head of Central Command, is going after targets that are directly impacting the opening of the Strait of Hormuz. All makes sense. But talk about bringing the gun to the knife fight. That is when we go after their economy, and that's going after Karg Island. And you heard President Trump kind of tease that out a little bit. And frankly, I don't think we're going to conquer Karg Island, but we could blockade it. That would be the end of the Iranian economy. I think you've got to go after economic targets. And the problem with doing that is the Iranian response. Will they then go after oil and gas facilities in Saudi Arabia and UAE? So it's not a great set of options, but I think compared to option one, Pontius Pilate, just walk away from it all. Option two, full-blown troops on the ground, massive military, not a very good option. I think option three is amp up the pressure, go after some economic targets, push them back.
I don't think this guy will ever be allowed back on CNN. He just resonated exactly what I think. And I don't know what this guy's name is. What is his name? Retired Admiral. What is this guy's name? Admiral, what is his name? James Stavridis. I don't think he'll ever be allowed back anywhere near. This guy's talking like a submariner. I've got to see if this guy's a submarine guy. James Stavridis. He's got to be a submariner. There's no way he's this intelligent and not a retired 4-star admiral. Let's go here. Frequently highlighted naval history, naval leadership. I just want, I beg for him to be a submariner because he's talking too logical for anyone watching over on CNN. Super chat from Not Your Daddy. Send the hogs from The View to Iran and the IRGC will surrender due to their fear of pork. Ladies and gentlemen, do you agree with what he said? We're taking a gun to a knife fight. Iran is they're out of options. I want to show you this now. We're already hitting railways, railroad tracks. CENTCOM struck 90 military targets. Among the hit targets are air defense, coastal surveillance, missile and drone storage sites, naval facilities, military logistics infrastructure along the strait, a railway bridge on the northern border of Turkmenistan was also hit. And I have the footage. Let's go here. We've got the footage. It is Train and Railway Day. Look at this. This is like the movie The Great Escape. Look at the train going bye-bye. So Trump's targeting the infrastructure is exactly what all of you have said to do the entire time. The gun to a knife fight. Let me ask you this. Gun to a knife fight. Is that where we're at right now? Is that how far we have gone? The retired 4-star, and I am so glad that CNN aired this. I don't think they will ever allow him back anywhere near a microphone on CNN. Let's go here. I want to get back to this guy. I like this guy a lot. CNN doesn't like him.
Fred, you heard Admiral Stavridis there describing the economic pressure point for Iran and the regime, including the possibility of shutting down its oil industry if the president were to order that. What is your sense being in Iran? I mean, is the population feeling the economic pressure? Do you sense the frustration at the regime bubbling over as a result of that?
What do you all think, guys? What do you all think about this? Do you think that we're going to see more economic? This is going to cause a lot of. I don't want to put Plattner back up there. What a clown! But now we've got the AP. They're rolling with some stuff here as well. Let's roll here.
Ellen Rivera has the latest out of the Middle East. Maddie.
Good morning, Carly and Todd. Iran says it attacked U.S. targets in Kuwait and Bahrain in retaliation to that second round of U.S. strikes. CENTCOM says it hit about 90 Iranian military targets, including air defense systems, coastal surveillance assets, and missile and drone storage sites. U.S. forces say they are trying to degrade Iran's ability to attack commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz after Tehran hit 3 ships earlier this week. The latest tit for tat comes as President Trump claims the ceasefire is over. Yet he also insists the attacks don't mean a return to war, and he indicates he will allow the peace talks to continue.
They're sort of crazy, to be honest with you. They're sort of crazy. They're a little bit out of control, but they want to make a deal. Badly.
Iran remains defiant. Their top negotiator saying America still hasn't learned that.
Here we go. You learn they live in rocks, eat dirt, love goats. We already lost. How did we lose? How are we losing right now? I can't understand how anyone you learn. I don't know how you would ever think that we lost. Let's see what else You Learn has said here this morning. Because they're winning, okay. No one has ever taken Iran out. I disagree. Does anyone agree with You Learn? You Learn, go back to the basement. I see a lot of people that You Learn, provide any substantial evidence that they are losing or that they are winning. I can't do it. I mean, you've got even basically this Iranian newspaper, Al Jazeera, Iran attacks on Gulf nations continue after heavy bombing. Bridge on China-Iran rail corridor hit by U.S. strike. Now it makes sense. Trump targeted a train railway that carries supplies from Iran to China. You see this? Now we're starting to connect some dots. And Al Jazeera, thank you for the amazing reporting. U.S. airstrikes on Iran have hit Ak-Takay Khan Railway Bridge in the northern province of Golestan, according to the Fars news agency. This bridge links key trade routes between Tehran and Iran's biggest partner, China. Now, the light goes off. You Learn, I'm sorry to wake you up this morning with facts. So the Fars Bridge said repairs will be completed quickly. Of course, they're going to say that. The route across the bridge passes through Turkmenistan and Kazakhstan on into China. Let's see where this is. So this is, here we go. So this railway, this train is going to be up in this area, passing through Turkmenistan into China. Okay. Now we know why we hit the train. Now we know why. This is so good to know. This is very, very, and these people will never tell you this. Never. They will not allow you to know this information. You get it here. But like I said before, Iran War Live, Tehran hits Bahrain, Kuwait, and Qatar. They don't go after the actual people that are doing that. Man, you're the product of Tide Pods. Whoa, that's a dangerous topic right there. Why are none of the American news media telling you that we just cut off a supply line for China? Why are none of them giving you that information? I don't see anything on CBS. I'm not seeing anything on CNN. I'm not seeing anything on any of these outlets about the train being hit, the railway being hit that supplies China. Now that is where China is going to be. We've got more blasts being heard in Iran's southern Bandar Abbas just minutes ago. So now we're dropping warheads on foreheads during the day. This is interesting. Very interesting. Do you think it's the right thing to do to take out these trains? We're basically clinically dissecting Iran. We're now cutting off supply lines to China. I'm just probably going to go ahead. Let's do this. Let's get rid of them. You know what? I don't. You Learn, you can stick around. I've got to make this ADA accessible for everyone that is that's here. We've got to allow people like this to come in and stick around. We have to allow that. People we don't even agree with, we need to allow them to talk. We need to allow them to express their bad opinions. But I'm really liking that we took out part of their railway capabilities. This is monumental. Let me see what else kind of updates we've got coming in right now. It looks like we've got more. Oh, okay. All right. Hold on just a second. Latest U.S. strikes targeted Iranian assets along the straits. We're going after the mosquitoes. Okay. We've talked about that. Let's get into a little bit of the Graham Plattner situation. He stepped down last night. And I'm going to take you to the heart of the lies. We go right here. Heart of the lies. They all begin here.
Operations. This is incredibly difficult because I know that some will think it's an admission of guilt, and it most certainly is not. We're not doing it because of the allegations. We're doing it because of the structures that are being taken away from us by those in power. I intend to file my paperwork to withdraw. The process needs to assure that what comes next is reflective of the Mainers who on June 9th turned out and showed that they are desperate for a different kind of politics. It needs to be driven not from back rooms, but by the will of the people.
Do you think he should step down? Is he innocent until proven guilty? If he's innocent, why is he stepping down? Let me know in the chat. Do you think Plattner's, should we flush ULearn? I don't know if we should. Should we? Should we get rid of him?
And the decisions that come next must come from that.
Out front now, Troy Jackson is former Democratic president of Maine State Senate, who has now filed campaign paperwork just today to possibly replace Plattner if he drops out. You have a lot of experience in politics in Maine, and you ran for governor. You came in third in the Democratic primary there. And you told a local reporter in Maine, and I quote you here, "If Graham's stepping away, I'm very, very interested and think I'm the best person to replace him." But as I mentioned, Troy, there's no known process to get anyone on the ballot whose name isn't Graham Plattner at this point, right? It's an unknown. I mean, would you even have enough time to do this, to get it together, to pull off a win if you got in the next few days?
Okay, so let's talk about Graham Plattner. CNN is going to run basically defense for this guy. Somebody said in the chat that he's reading a script. Is there anyone that believes that? I believe he probably is. Let's go ahead and flush ULearn while I grab some coffee. I believe Plattner was reading a script. I believe he was being told, leave now or we're going to leak more information. I think there's something else that is out there that we're not allowed to know yet. And the only way that we do know anything that's occurring is because the Democrats allowed us to find this out about Plattner. That's the only reason that we're allowed to know this. Plattner should go, in my opinion. I don't trust the clown. I've never trusted the clown. I want to give some information here. Sad news, rest in peace, Bonnie Tyler. She passed away last night, age of 75, died in Portugal. She sang Total Eclipse of the Heart. I'm going to be jamming to that on the way to work in my old truck, or in my truck. My old truck's getting a new engine put in it. But Bonnie Tyler passed away. Graham Plattner stepping down. Iran collapsing. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. Just had to give a big shout out. Rest in peace. God bless her. Great rock singer, Bonnie Tyler, dead at the age of 75. The Graham Plattner situation. I don't know how many of you live in Maine. If you live in Maine, I'd love to get your opinion on what we're seeing there, what you think about boots on the ground in Maine, because that's interesting that Plattner would step down now. It's similar to the way that Bernie Sanders had to step down. He was forced out. I think Bernie had a better chance of running against Trump than Hillary. But that's the way the Democrat Party works. They don't really like free and fair elections. They don't like to allow the people to decide who's going to be their candidate. They make those picks. They decide. Someone's pulling the strings for Plattner to leave. That's literally what's happening. Apparently, as of this morning, Palm Beach International Airport has officially been renamed to President Donald J. Trump International Airport. The airport code is DJT, Donald J. Trump. That's huge. That's going to trigger the algorithm. Let's talk a little bit about New York. How many of you live in New York? Brooklyn neighbors frustrated by early mosque Adhan broadcast. I don't care about Brooklyn. Well, I care about the patriots that live there. But the people that voted for this are now upset because they get the 5 a.m. call to prayer. And that's what I think is where I don't care. These people voted for this. This is what they deserve. Listen to this. How many of you would want to wake up in Brooklyn? I don't think this should be allowed anywhere in America, to be honest with you. Just my opinion. I don't think you should be allowed to jam the call to prayer anywhere on American soil. And I'm sure there's a lot of you in the chat that would agree with me. But is this what New York is coming to? We've seen calls before where they're basically saying they're going to turn it into New Yorkistan. Brooklyn's largest mosque, they amplified sound during the quiet hours from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. The mosque, Brooklyn's largest, has faced over 156 complaints since before 2016. This goes back to Obama era, with leaders pledging lower volumes after a 2025 upgrade. Houses of worship get some leeway like church bells. Let me ask you this. You go outside of your church in New York City, you start singing Amazing Grace or hell, even the national anthem, the police there will come there and shut you down. But this mosque, where they've got Sharia law, well, they want Sharia law there. Mosque is jamming this kind of stuff. We know the New York mayor, Mamdani's not going to do anything about this. He's not going to do this. He's going to make this call to prayer a little bit more affordable. Thank you for the super chat, Real KRO, $50, veteran service dogs.
Amen.
Thank you.
Hallelujah. And boom shakalaka.
Here's the official message changing Palm Beach International Airport to Donald J. Trump Airport. That's going to trigger a lot of people. Let's see here. We've got more information coming in there. I want to get back to, let's go here. What's trending here on X this morning? News, Palm Beach renamed. Influencer Jackson Hinkle leads anti-USA chants. We talked about this days ago. McConnell, there's still no proof of life for McConnell. New York City immigrant map omits Little Italy, draws backlash. Map from Mayor Zumda. Well, they don't want that. They want it to be an Islamic nation. They want New Yorkistan. That's kind of what they want. They want New Yorkistan. I want to show you something here real quick that I wish this guy would have been as pro-America as he is now. Before. Let me go here real quick. There's a new. I wish he would have done this sooner, but he didn't. Actually, hold up. Somebody just sent me a link to a Scott Jennings clip here. Thank you for that, Connie. Let's play this here real quick. Let's go, Connie, right here.
Yeah, I don't agree that this conflict has somehow hardened Iran even further. I think they were already as adversarial to the United States as they could be. They've been adversarial to us for 47 years. And it was this president that decided to try to do something about it. He also tried to give diplomacy a chance. I concur that, there was always a high percentage chance the Iranians were never going to come to the table here in a meaningful way in good faith. I'm not surprised it's ending this way. The morning that the president signed the MOU, I talked to him, and he said to me, as he'd said publicly, look, if they don't behave and they don't meet their obligations, we'll go back to the military campaign. That's what he has decided to do. And now it may just be time to say, look, we're not going to have some grand peace deal, and we're going to have to monitor these guys. We're probably going to have to hit them from time to time. We are going to keep enough oil flowing through the strait. We're going to move other oil-producing nations away from reliance on the strait. They're not going to get a penny in sanctions relief. And, and the outcomes here are we've destroyed their military and turned all their neighbors against them. That's a way to declare victory out of this. And I think that's what the president will do.
That seems like not a victory at all.
They don't control the strait.
CNN, no victory at all. Iran doesn't control the strait. We know that. We've established that. They don't have the naval power to do that. Does anyone believe Iran will ever actually get a deal done, or can we ever trust them? That's the part that I'm on to right now, is that we can never actually trust these people. Never. There's no way in hell we can ever get any deal from this as long as the IRGC remains in any level of control. I want to show you the airstrikes. A lot of these were happening overnight. We're seeing a lot of this stuff crop up overnight. I just don't understand how that these people continue to not realize that this game is, I don't think the game is over, but they've just got a bad hand. Dave, I live in New Baltimore. Okay. Let's grab some other stuff here. I want to see what else we've got that's coming. I try to get as much stuff coming live off of the rails as I can here. There's some other stuff going on right now, and I know this is going to trigger some people. I'm sorry. That's just what we do here on the channel. I replied to Time. Time magazine just put this guy on their cover. They just had Graham Plattner on a cover June 8th. I want to take you a little bit back in time. They also had this guy on a cover. So that should leverage what Time magazine is capable of and some of their judgment, which is interesting. There was another thing here that I found last night, and I don't cover this very much. Number one, I think that Tyler Robinson is guilty as hell. But now some of Candace's best friends are also saying Tyler Robinson's guilty.
Today's task is to figure out whether Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger. That is today's task. And the evidence that he did is overwhelming. It's overwhelming. I mean, it's video, it's digital. There are notes, there are pictures, there are email correspondence, text messages. There's a witness who's going to take the stand effectively by video, his lover, who we believe is going to point the finger squarely at him and talk of his confession. His parents, we understand at trial, are going to be forced, if they don't volunteer, to talk about how they were on the receiving end of what has been described as a confession. I actually just pulled that file right here because people don't believe that Tyler Robinson did confess to his parents, and they don't believe that they heard anything from him. Here is from the criminal information filed against him. As they discussed the situation, his parents, with Tyler, Robinson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail and just wanted to end it. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained to his parents there is too much evil and that Charlie Kirk spreads too much hate. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend who's a retired deputy sheriff. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. The family friend spoke to police, reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all the evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home.
Is he guilty? It's very interesting now that Megyn Kelly, because she's been on the Candace train for a long time, is he guilty? Is Tyler Robinson a patsy? Is Tyler Robinson some kind of MK Ultra? I follow this a little bit. I've been on the Tyler Robinson's guilty train since the very beginning. I've never been into the exploding microphone. I've never been into the blame Israel, blame the Egyptian aircraft, blame aliens, blame the Mormons. What else do we have? What other things were there? Blame the Illuminati, blame the flat earthers, blame Obama. I've 100% been. Now, I don't trust Megyn Kelly. She changes as the wind blows, but I still think that Tyler Robinson's the one that did it. And now there's evidence. Candace Owens, I guess, said he wasn't at the campus, and they have him on the campus 4 to 6 times.
The family friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes that were related to what he did. Robinson replied that he had disposed of the clothes in different areas, and then he went in and did exactly that, turned himself in. That is what's been alleged. That is where the proof is going to take us. If there's more beyond it, I await the proof of it. I mean, I like you, I'm a lawyer. I want proof.
Okay. Question for the chat. I've got a poll going in the chat right now. Is Tyler Robinson guilty? 5% say no. 5% of the people in the chat say no. Got some other stuff I posted here on X. Make sure you follow me on X right here at Navy Vet. We're broadcasting live. We've got about 80 people watching over on X right now. We've got a lot watching in the chat. About 1,800 people watching on various platforms. Happy 4th of July from Graham Plattner. Plattner's gone. Plattner drops out. Let's do this. I want to get back to the situation room, so to speak. Here we go. cruise missile impact on the site of Bashir nuclear power plant in northern Iran. This is huge. So now we're targeting their power plants. It's power plant and bridge day yesterday, or actually this morning. Look at that. Power plant and bridge day has started off what is today? July the 9th, power plant and bridge day. Somebody said, how is he not guilty? Somebody answer that for me. How is he not guilty? That's a hell of a question there. Let's do this. We'll grab a handful of calls here before we do our real job and go to our real work. Let's go right here, and I'll try to keep this the screen up there as we maneuver while we take some calls. Let's turn it on and grab a couple. And we got two topics to talk about this morning. We're going to talk about Iran. We're going to talk about the combat and conflict that we've got here in the United States right now. And, if you've got something you want to express your opinion about the Charlie Kirk situation, I'm happy to talk about that as well. I really am. It's okay. We can do this. We can do multiple things at the same time. Let's go here. We'll put that back up here. P Hustle. That's what they're calling this guy, Graham Plattner. Trump, Iran wants a deal so badly, warns hit U.S. once, we hit it 20-fold. Ooh, man, I hate Trump's even bringing up the idea that Iran do something here in the United States. Lines are open, 615-475-7864. Start off right here. Line 1, what do you got?
Good morning, Ben. It's Greg in Ohio. I'm just sitting here thinking and watching your show. We are in a never-ending war because the libtards are just like the Iranians. They will never, ever, ever, ever admit that they're dumb. They're too far gone. We're never going to take them. We're never going to end this.
Okay. What do you think the end? How do we make them end it?
You'll laugh, but I really firmly believe we have to treat this like vampires. You remember the old vampire movies? There's only one way to stop them.
Okay. Silver bullet, stake through the heart. God bless you. Thank you, Greg. Let's go paratrooper. What you got?
Hey, buddy. For the first time, you and I have a disagreement.
Sure.
Your admiral buddy there, he was saying, maybe I misunderstood him. I hope that's what it is. He said he didn't think we could take Karg Island, and I don't get it because the 82nd's they've had operational plans in place for at least a month now.
I don't know. I really don't. I don't underestimate the United States military. I don't underestimate the United States military. I don't know.
Did you hear that?
I just don't know.
Yeah, maybe I heard him wrong because I liked everything else he was saying, but he said I thought he said that he didn't think we could take the island, and I know for a fact that the 82nd's had operational plans for at least a month or two.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at the map right now, Kuwait is across the Gulf, right?
Right. Yes. Yes.
Karg Island is just, I would, looking at it, it's 25 kilometers from their coast. So that's about 19 miles. So if Iran has the capability to launch ballistic missiles into Kuwait, there are no air defense systems on Karg Island. So I could see where taking it would put a lot of people in jeopardy because there's no air defense on that island. So
well, ironically, that's what I was. I was air defense, ADA, air defense artillery. Now, there's a lot of equipment that can be put in place that'll actually drop from the C-17s and the C-130s. C-130s and 140 and C-47s. So
I think somebody said it here in the chat. We can take it, but troops will die keeping it. I think there would be a massive loss doing it, and I don't know if risk versus gain is really I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not a ground pounder.
Personally, I'd rather not see us lose any lives. If they want to take control of Carg Island, we just need to bomb the shit out of it too.
I think it would be easier to just destroy the whole island. Just destroy it.
Yes,
just shellac
total
it.
Agreement.
Just shellac it.
A little whack-a-mole.
I mean, just put in. I mean, how many B2s would it need to take this island out? I mean, the heart of the island, to me, taking out the island are these 25 oil storage containers. That's the island, right? That's the oil storage containers. Yeah.
And that would severely damage them economically, greatly. But then you got the environmental impact, though. So that might be a little bit of an issue.
Absolutely. Thank you for calling, Paratrooper. God bless you. Great call. Paratrooper says plans have been in place. Risk versus gain, I don't know if we need to. Just destroy it, right? If you take away their one prize, then why do we need to take it? Like, why? Let me go here. Let's refresh this. Lines are open, 615-475-7864. Somebody said Fetterman is the only... I don't trust Fetterman. He says what he likes. He says some things I like, but I just don't trust the guy. I'm ex-DOD, show a lot of great stuff. The better it is, the more of the target, the more shadow banned I get. Oh, good. Good for you. He's innocent unless proven guilty by a jury of his peers. Be rad for real. Okay. So Tyler Robinson's innocent in that retrospect. Signs and billboards are... So Trump is going back to the Supreme Court for the birthright citizenship about all of these signs being put up at the southern border. Okay? Advertising illegal alien birthright, basically birth tourism. Let's go right here. Good morning, Eunice. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right, Ben. How are you, dear?
Amazing. What would you like to say?
Well, I think that the president's got a lot on his plate right now.
Sure.
And you can say that he's going to do this. I can believe he's going to do that. But I just think as far as Iran, we got to have faith in God and faith in our president. He's going to do what's best for America. And then when he's done with Iran, he's got immigration more or less under control where he's going. And then he's going to do something with these alarmists and the communists. I mean, with these calls to prayer, he's already on it. You see, he's been talking about it a lot. And once he starts talking about it, that's where a lot of his direction goes, and he starts pressing. Like he starts like with a word here and a word there. And before you know it, there's an explosion. So I just think we got to keep backing him, have a little faith, and it may not be as quick as we like, but does anything ever go as quick as you like? Exactly how you like it? But I think it's going to be what's best for America.
It's funny you bring that up. Everyone has this sense of urgency where they ran. Where was the sense of urgency over the last 50 years?
Exactly.
Nobody gave a shit for 50 years.
Well,
right?
Now something's being done.
And now we're like, oh, it's been 69 days or 91 days. We're like, finish it now. But nobody gave a damn about, for 50 years, America was walking around with a booger hanging out of their nose, and the booger was Iran. Nobody cared, right?
There's always been a saying, all good things come to those who wait. Our time is coming. Right is on our side. And I honestly believe that. But like I said, why rush it, make a mistake? Trump doesn't make off-the-cuff decisions. He makes this decision. He says, okay, that's going to happen. This is going to happen. This is every decision has a consequence. You've got to figure out if the consequences are worth what you're going to do. And that's what's always circling in his mind, and nobody's telling me no different.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I agree.
Comes out to the end. Have a good day, my dear.
Take care. God bless you. I appreciate the call, Eunice. I got a text message in here. I won't say this is who this is from. United States Marine Corps Recon has been called to alert for deployment. That's a message I just received. There's been a lot of movement and skirmishes all along the mountain border regions of Iran. The different factions have coordinated boots on the ground. 4 boots on the ground. Hold up. Okay, I can't read that out loud. I just can't read that out loud. I'm sorry. American New Yorkers didn't vote for Mamdani. It was foreigners who gained citizenship who got him in the office. The Mideast people. Yeah, you're right. Apparently, right now, 3 ballistic missiles from Iran were just launched towards Jordan. So Iran continues to lash out at allies. Is what they're doing. Great call from Eunice, as always. Really appreciate that. Eunice is always on point. She looks at things with a different perspective than many of us. She lives in New York. I believe her husband, or late husband, was a Green Beret, a military veteran. I can't remember exactly the branch of service, but this is a big deal to a lot of people. Trust Trump. He won and inherited a world of poop. He will do the very best he can. I do agree with that. The birthright citizenship thing is a nightmare. We have to end that quickly, or we're going to get more Mamdanis. I want to play this clip here from Chip Roy. Chip Roy has a plan. Listen to Chip.
According to you, there's a pathway to have to kind of correct the Supreme Court ruling that everyone witnessed just last week. And I kind of want you to break this down because obviously you have the legal expertise in all of this. But you're saying we actually don't really have to go the amendment route, which is obviously very extensive and difficult to do. You've got a different plan in place. So break this down for us.
Sure. First of all, let's be very clear. An amendment to the Constitution isn't going to happen right now. It's just that it's a fool's errand to say that we're going to get 2/3 of Congress. We can't get 60 votes for the SAVE Act, y'all. We're not going to get 2/3 to pass a constitutional amendment and then get 3/4 of the states to ratify it. So maybe eventually, fine, pass it if you want to. I'll vote for it. Great. But let's be very realistic that we need to deal with this legislatively. There are a number of ways to do that. Number one, Section 5 of the 14th Amendment is very clear about our role as Congress in order to provide legislation in support of what the 14th Amendment says, right? So we can craft legislation consistent with the 14th Amendment, but that is clarifying. Now, to be clear, we should have done that a long time ago. I was advocating for it. In fact, in the Pause Act that I introduced last fall, I literally say in the bill, I want to pause all immigration until we fix a bunch of stuff. I won't read you the whole list of stuff, but one of those things was, in fact, birthright citizenship, because I knew that we were putting all of our cards, or all of our eggs in the basket of the court, and that was going to be a mistake.
Why did he wait until he's on his way out of office to do this? Why? B-Rad, you absolutely took the words right out of my mouth. Roy is acting normal now. What the heck has he been drinking lately? You nailed it. I got to give you the quote of the day here.
Hallelujah. And
comment of the day. And I put a poll in the chat. The previous poll, 90% of you think, well, let's not go there. Almost 10% of you think Tyler Robinson's innocent. That is, to me, surprising. What's the priority? SAVE Act, no nukes for Iran. Somebody tried to call in. They got disconnected or hung up there. Somebody says no quarter. Okay, yeah. So vote on the poll there. The lines are open. Why is Chip Roy suddenly... What happened to Chip Roy? What happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene? Marjorie Taylor Greene was just on The View. I'm not even going to show you the clip because it makes me want to vomit. But now she thinks that Graham Plattner was caught in some kind of, spy plot, right? She's been so pro, Jeffrey.
So we need to define subject to the jurisdiction thereof. We can do that under the Section 5 of the 14th Amendment. We need to define it very clearly, so what we mean and what subject to the jurisdiction means, and say that this is, if you're born here in the United States on American soil to one American citizen, great. If you're born to two American citizens, however we want to define it, and say that you're not going to get that status if you're just coming here and you're just born and of two non-citizens and you have no status. And there's some gray area in between all that, but let's
Chip is a rhino, but a good rhino. There are no good rhinos. Somebody says he needs votes for attorney general. He already lost the primary. He's out. He doesn't need any more votes. He's looking for another job. He's looking for a cabinet position. That's what I think. Now, the priorities on this, 80% of you say priority right now is SAVE Act, 10% no nukes for Iran. I think the president right now is juggling everything.
Let's just define it. The second thing is we need to pause immigration. We need to limit the people who are coming here. I would take a broad approach and pause almost all of it. At a minimum, we should be pausing and limiting childbearing women, and we should be making sure that people aren't coming here who are pregnant. We should be limiting the number of people who could have legal permits.
Where was he at his entire time in Congress? Because I would vote for something like this, but now he's a lame duck congressman. His term is over. Now he's MAGA. Now he's pro-America. Now he's shut down citizenship. Somebody says Chip Roy isn't a rhino. I can show you lots of clips where Chip Roy absolutely voted against everything that the president wanted. I'm not saying, well, Chip Roy changed very conveniently. Very conveniently. You're right, he's becoming another Lindsey Graham. Why did Chip Roy suddenly become so, I don't know, like what happened to this guy? What happened to Chip Roy? Chip flip-flops too much. He doesn't like Trump. There's loads. Let's go here. Chip Roy, anti-Trump. I guarantee you we'll find a clip. First thing come up. It'll be Chip Roy saying, oh, here we go. Here, for anyone that is so pro Chip Roy, here's him wearing a mask for the person that said Chip Roy's not a rhino. Here we go. Let's just play this. Let's just play this for anyone to remember what Chip Roy used to do.
The President of the United States deserves universal condemnation for what was clearly, in my opinion, impeachable conduct, pressuring the Vice President to violate his oath of the Constitution to count the electors. His open and public pressure, courageously rejected by the Vice President, purposely seeded the false belief among the President's supporters, including those assembled on January 6th, that there was a legal path for the President. It was foreseeable and reckless to sow such a false belief that could lead to violence and rioting by loyal supporters whipped into a frenzy.
So Chip Roy saying President Trump committed impeachable offense only when it was popular to do so. He called MAGA voters effers. Texas will make a huge mistake if he's AG. Well, they didn't make a huge mistake because he's not AG. Chip Roy. Wow. How the times have changed. How the times have changed. Why? Uh-oh, here we go. I don't want to dunk. This is not dunk on Chip Roy day, but damn. And they got rid of Neil Cavuto. Good.
I did touch on very briefly, sir, of this RNC move to make Donald Trump the presumptive nominee. Nikki Haley has criticized that move, essentially saying, let the voters in the Republican Party decide that. I know Ron DeSantis was your candidate, not Nikki Haley, but I'm just curious what you make of that. Is that a little too soon to be making anyone a presumptive nominee?
Well, first, let me say that I think Nikki, with all due respect, he kind of represents that old guard of the Republican Party that I just was kind of lambasting, that's big spending and all defense and, endless wars. I think we need to move a different direction. I think President Trump represented in 2016 a challenge to the establishment, a challenge to drain the swamp. But I don't think we should be coronating somebody. I went out and campaigned in Iowa. We don't coronate people. We don't just choose somebody and, you get anointed.
Wow. Chip Roy. Good grief. Okay. Well, guys, gals, girls, make sure you mash the like and subscribe button. Join the channel as a member. That always helps. Do me a favor. Check out mypillow.com/veteran. You can save 40% on there. You can get a membership. If there's anybody else that wants to call in, this is your last chance. But Chip Roy, what a flip and a flop. I can't believe Chip Roy changed that much so quickly. It seems like, wow. Good old Chip Roy. He wants more recent sound bites. Let's grab some of these comments here. I love seeing these. $10 from Davidson Chris. Thank you very much there, Davidson. Appreciate you. We got some thumbs downs. We obviously upset some people there. Somebody says, my dog hears Chip Roy and he farted. Okay. For anybody that says Chip Roy wasn't a rhino or isn't a rhino, I think we just showed you that Chip Roy really... Uh-oh. Anybody live in Tennessee? What is this? Train conductor fired? What did this guy say? I want to see what this guy says. Train conductor fired after 4th of July message after triggering passengers. Okay, they got me. I've got to see this. Let's grab this call here real quick. Line 2, Chip Roy Fan Club. How can we help you?
Yeah, I have a comment about Chip Roy and why he's acting different than he used to.
Sure.
When you're in Congress, in order to get a key committee position where you can implement policy, you have to go along with the rhinos, because if you don't, they won't put you on a key committee position. You're pretty much an outsider. It's really hard. And also the lobbyists. Now that he's not going to be in Congress anymore, he doesn't have to go along with the lobbyists now because of that. So there's several reasons why I believe he's changed. But I'm Karen, and I'm the one who's been texting you, and it's nice to hear your voice on the phone today.
Let me ask you this then. Is it okay for Chip to just say whatever and now come back to where we're at now, or was he wrong the entire time?
You know what? He doesn't have it's kind of like a lame duck presidency. Trump no longer has to watch out for certain things. The only thing he has to watch out for now is the impeachment. If the
No. I'm going to pin you down on this. Are you saying it's okay for what Chip did because he was anti-Trump, wanted to impeach him? Now he's pro-MAGA. Is it okay for that?
No, it's not okay. But
okay.
He could also be trying to get another job somewhere.
Well, I don't give a shit about his job. I don't trust him. Thank you for calling, Karen. There you go. Let's go, James, Virginia. I don't give a shit about Chip Roy. He's flipping and flopping. He flip-flops more than Gandhi's shoes. What do you got, James?
Hey, this is James from the communist state of Virginia.
Yes, sir.
Chip Roy, he's not a regular rhino. Just watching what you put out right there, because you put out the goods on people. He's a communist rhino.
How does he go from wearing a mask, calling for the impeachment of Trump, calling for the conviction of the January 6th peaceful protesters, and then now he's pro-MAGA, wants to shut down the border? Where was he at whenever the southern border of Texas was being invaded? He wasn't up there in Congress cussing out Greg Abbott, right?
No, sir, he was not. He's undoubtedly compromised. Ben, I got just a little bit of tidbit of history.
Sure.
A correlation for the Iranians need to study our history.
Okay.
Trump and Andrew Jackson, President Andrew Jackson back in the day, were kind of similar type presidents. Now, Andrew Jackson, he was the first DEI president, because when he took on the British down New Orleans, he used everybody. He used the American Indians. He used the black folks. He used the prostitutes out of the city. He used the people in City Hall. Well, he told them in City Hall that if they don't fight, he'll burn them down. But anyway, he slaughtered the British when they come walking up there and didn't hardly lose anybody. Now, that's what the Iranians are facing.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm going to put a poll here in the chat. There's a lot of people that are on both sides of Chip, and I want to put a poll right here in the chat. I'm going to ask you first, is Chip Roy the perfect example of a rhino? James, what's your say?
Yes, he is, but he's a communist rhino.
Okay.
Yes, he is.
Okay. I mean,
Thank you,
from
man.
what I just saw, calling for the impeachment of the president, to now close the border, end all immigration. Those are two extremes. That's one side of the farm and the other side of the river to me, right?
Yeah, it's pitiful. Yeah, it is. He is pitiful.
God bless you, James.
Pitiful.
Appreciate you. I'm going to grab a couple more calls, brother. God bless you. Let's go here. Is Chip Roy the ultimate rhino? Wow. Let me see. Let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I can find this real. Here we go. Let me do this. James brought up something great here. We got Chip Roy is. I'm going to get attacked. I'm going to get attacked for calling out Chip Roy. What you got?
Hi, Ben. Arizona here, pure blood. I'm calling on this, what you're talking about on what's his name here? Chip. I'm talking about the flip-floppers. All they've been doing is flip-flopping, but my only thing is, do you think they're flip-flopping now because arrests are being made? I've been seeing a bunch of arrests going around.
Chip Roy's about to be unemployed. January 1st, he'll be unemployed. Chip Roy, in my opinion, is looking for a job, probably as a pundit over on CNN or MS Now.
Yes.
He's probably looking at what Scott Jennings does, and he's like, hey, I could do that. That's my opinion. I don't like
Scott
anyone.
Jennings. I agree.
Anybody that calls for the impeachment of the president, or at the time called for the impeachment of President Trump, wearing a mask, that tells me everything. That tells me everything. God bless you, pure blood.
God bless you.
you. Take care. You should call him and ask. Somebody get me Chip Roy's number. Let's get Chip Roy's phone number. Chip Roy Congress number. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get Chip Roy's Congress number for his office. How about that? Let's do that. Here we go. Let's just call Chip right now. I got no problem doing that. Y'all know me better than this. How do we get back to right here? I'll call Chip. What's his number? Here we go. Copy. And let's call Chip Roy. Let's call Chip. Let's call Chip.
Hello, this is the Office of Congressman Chip Roy, proudly representing Texas's 21st Congressional District. Thank you for contacting our Washington, D.C. office. Please leave your name and contact information along with your message, and our office will address your concerns as we can. Have a great day, and don't forget to sign up for our weekly newsletter at roy.house.gov/contact/newsletter.
Hey, Chip Roy, this is Ben Dykes on the Ben Dykes News Channel over here on YouTube, multiple other platforms. Chip, it looks like you flip-flopped. Just a few years ago, you were wearing a mask in Congress calling for the impeachment of President Trump and also the conviction of the J6 peaceful protesters. And now you're pro-MAGA calling for closing the border, shutting down all immigration. Chip, are you wearing shoes or flip-flops? Because it looks to me like there's some flip-flops happening here. I'm wondering which news channel, CNN, MS Now, maybe NPR, that you're trying to get a gig at. Are you jealous of Scott Jennings? You're trying to get a seat at the round table with Abby Phillips? Give me a call back, 615-475-7864. I'd love to have you for an interview on my channel. And let's talk about those shoes that you're wearing, Chip. I don't think they're leathers. I don't think you're wearing lace-ups. I think you got flip-flops on. There we go. So we just left a message for old Chip Roy. There you go. We'll call these people. We got no problem calling them. Flip Chip. There we go. I think that he has on flip-flops. I don't think he wears lace-ups. I think he needs to get some cowboy boots or some hip waders and wade through all the bullshit that he's been selling us. I think he needs some duck waders. Okay? That bothers me. That clip of Chip Roy bothers me. Somebody mentioned Battle of New Orleans. In 1814, we took a little trip along with Colonel Jackson's down the mighty Mississippi. We took a little bacon, we took a little beans, and we caught the bloody British in the town of New Orleans. Fired our guns, the British kept a-coming. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more, and they began to running on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. There we go. That's a song. If you know who sang that song, you're a great American. If you don't know, you should. You need to go listen to that. You need to go listen to some Bonnie Tyler this morning as well. Do you ever get a response from the messages to Congress? I get lots of responses. Lots of responses. What's with Scott Jennings saying he was talking with Mitch? I don't know. He could have been talking to AI Mitch. He could have been talking to a generated Mitch. There are a lot of flip-floppers, and I don't mind calling them out. I really want to see what this is. Let's see if we can get this in while we wait for a call.
Riders on the incline are sharing what prompted them to press record during a moment that has now gone viral. The conductor operating the car was fired that same day.
Now in the video, you can hear that employee telling the riders that the U.S. is the best country in the world, and if they disagree, they can leave. Madison Sims spoke to the family that recorded.
He got fired for saying this.
The video. Madison?
This is in Tennessee.
David, the entire interaction was filmed by a father and son duo, and in it you can see the shock on some riders' faces, and now they're telling us those troubling comments were made throughout the entire ride.
Father and son duo Charles and Nathan Shear were visiting Chattanooga from Florida for the 4th of July. Their travels led them to one of the city's most popular tourist attractions, the Incline Railway.
We're all loading in, and then just as it's about to start, the conductor just made sort of a opening statement of welcome to the train.
But just as their ride began, so did some disturbing comments.
And then made some sort of disparaging remarks about foreigners, and then the train started.
The car fell silent, and Nathan says he thought about it the entire way up the mountain. But once they got back into the car for the descent, he decided to press record.
To the very, very few Americans in here, happy Independence Day. And to the rest of you, welcome to the greatest country on the face of the planet. And if you disagree, you can leave.
He doesn't really know who is American and who's not just by the way they look. So that kind of floored us.
Even if you were critical of the country, the idea that you have to leave if you if you have any complaints, the whole thing is weird to me.
They sent the video to CARTA, and that same day, the employee, who has now been identified as Jack Peterson, was removed from his role. CARTA says Peterson was not employed by them, but a seasonal employee hired by a contractor.
That made me feel really good about CARTA and about their responsiveness to this and believing, it should have been handled.
Peterson declined to comment on the situation, but for the Shears, they hope this incident stands as a reminder that our words have consequences.
If someone has those thoughts, that's fine. Make your opinion known, but not during your job.
CARTA's CEO has since apologized to those passengers, saying it should have never happened, and the organization has a zero tolerance for language that demeans or excludes anyone who rides with them. You can read CARTA's full.
I don't give a shit. If you don't like America, leave. If you don't like it here, leave. And I wish I could get in touch with this train conductor. I bet father and son are both liberals. I'm saying they're probably on their way to the password parade, both of them. And I don't know how the dad had a kid. Maybe it was before he changed his, thing. Lines are open, 615-475-7864. If that James Peterson guy has a GoFundMe, let me know. I'm donating because that is crazy. White liberals were big. Yeah, of course. I'd hire the guy. You damn right I would. Man, that is sad. The guy says if you don't like America, leave. What is wrong with that? Somebody said, quick, call 911 and get a wambulance. Yes, if you don't like America, leave. That's where I'm at right now. Your feelings, you're not in a safe closet anymore. I don't care about your feelings anymore. Tennessee train conductor fired after triggering woke passengers. I don't think many of them will be watching our show, will they? Probably not. With that being said, guys, I think we may roll out Okay? You guys take care. I'll see you in the next one. Trigger a liberal somewhere today. It's easy.